Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Vudirayet. Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punyashravana Kirtana Hrudayam Tasto Hi Abhadrani Vidunoti Suhrutsatam Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining this morning, and we'll be doing the uh, Canto 4, Chapter 4 overview today. So I just have the translations. So the Canto 4, first 7 chapter talking about Lord Shiva, Daksha, and Sati, pastime, and this chapter, Sati quits her body. The title is Sati quits her body. In the previous chapter, we looked at Daksha started a sacrifice. Sati tried to convince Shiva to attend, but Lord Shiva cautioned her, don't go. But here Sati, even weighing all the option to go, not to go, Lord Shiva also cautioned her. But you know, so after Sati was telling the reason to go, and Shiva was telling not to go. Sati finally decided, to go. So in the first verse, is talk about, Lord Shiva was silent after speaking to Sati. Sati was very much anxious, and he want to see her relatives and go to her father's house. And in next, it talks about how um, she was angry. Sati was felt sorry, and when Lord Shiva says not to go, I think Sati was not happy. She was very angry, and then after that, Sati left her husband, and she's just starting headed towards father's house. When she was going to her father's house, and all the disciples of Lord Shiva, accompanied her to the her father's house, Daksha's house, and quickly followed her, and she was given to ride on the bull Nandi, and all the yakshas are accompanied her. And in the first few verses, it talks about how Sati lives to Lord Shiva, and how she was disciples, accompanied her to the father's place. And all this, this entire procession was pompous as a royal parade. So that's how she reached the place of Daksha. So when after reaching the Daksha's place, Sati gets the cold response from the Daksha. When she reaches the father's house, and all the great sages, brahmanas, demigods, everybody was present there, and it's a scene is set for the sacrifice ceremony. And when Sati reached the Daksha's place, all the people assembled there were afraid, afraid of Daksha. If they receive her, they may be on the wrong side. So none of them received her well, and no one welcomed her except her mother and sister. Obviously motherly love is always there, and they are welcomed her, and they were happy to see Sati. But Sati was not happy because she was not received uh, any response from others, especially she was not offered a seat, or even if it's offered, she didn't take it because she was expecting a welcome by her own father, Daksha. So the Daksha didn't respond, and she says like Daksha neither talked or nor welcomed. And so even usually when one guest or you know kid reaches the father's place or vice versa, they usually ask about how they are doing or welcoming, and at least they want to get to know. But nothing has happened in that sort when Sati reached the father's place. So Daksha didn't receive her, and she becomes angry, and she was so angry that she looked like, it says that she was going to burn him with her eyes. Then So in that angry moment, even the followers of Shiva were, very unhappy, and they wanted to, ready to injure or kill the Dakshas, but Sati stopped them, by her order. She was angry and sorrowful. She especially condemned her father, how speaking against him in the presence of all. So in the next few verses, Sati condemns Daksha for his behavior, first, insulting Shiva, and when she reached the home of father, and she was not received. So now Sati is so angry, she is going to condemn the Daksha. She's also glorifies the Lord Shiva, how, you know, uh, how famous he is, and what is his role, is Shiva itself means is auspicious and all those things. So here last few verses she talks about Shiva and condemns the Daksha's behavior, and starting with verse 11, she talks about Lord Shiva is the most beloved of all living entities, and he has no rival, he's very uh, he sees everybody in, no one is dear or no one is enemy to him. He has no enemy, and but no one is envy, but you are the only one envious of him, and who is free from all enmity. That's how she praises about, glorifies the Lord Shiva. The Prabhupada says that in Bhagavad Gita 9:29, Lord says, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. I am equal to all living entities. Similarly, Lord Shiva is a qualitative incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he has almost the same qualities as the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he is equal to everyone. No one is his enemy, nor no one is his friend. But one who is envious by nature can become the envy of Lord Shiva. So it explains, envious nature of Daksha, and she continues talking about, you know, you know, Daksha is a twice born, is called Dvija. A man like you can simply find faults and qualities of others, whereas Lord Shiva is like a sadhu, and if he finds no faults with others, and he only sees a little good quality one has, and he magnifies it greatly. And unfortunately, she is telling that you are the one find a fault with such a great soul. And in the verse 13 talks about, if somebody does aparadha to Vaishnavas and criticize being a materialist, they're diminished by the dust of feet of great personalities. So that's why, it's very important to respect the Vaishnavas, and Vaishnavas, Krishna likes who serves the Vaishnavas than blaspheming the Vaishnavas. And here she continues that, that are continuing saying that Daksha, that you are committing a greatest offense by envying Lord Shiva, and talks about Lord Shiva consists of Shi and Va, because he is who one one from all sinful activities, and his order never neglected, and Lord Shiva is always pure, and no one but you envies him. So here in the previous chapter, we heard about Sattvam Visuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. Lord Shiva is always in meditation on the lotus feet of Vasudeva, Sri Krishna. Thus, the auspicious position of Lord Shiva is realized if one takes the worship of Vishnu. Because Lord Shiva says that in the Shiva Purana, the topmost worship is the worship of Lord Vishnu. So Lord Shiva is worshipped because he is the greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu. One should not, however, make the mistake of considering Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu to be on the same level. So in the verses continue. Um, Verse 15 talks about, how Lord Shiva's lotus feet is sought over both materialist and transcendentalist, because Lord Shiva is the highest personality in the material world, and she's telling that you have offended a friend of the universe who is worshipped by both by seeking the Brahmanda or by those desiring the material results. So many times Lord Shiva was uh, worshipped for either to get a Brahman realization or to have any material benefits, and Lord Shiva fulfills that. But ultimate thing is Lord Shiva himself is worshipping Vishnu and meditating upon the Lord Vishnu. When people get to the Brahman realization, the next thing is to realize that they, there is a super soul, and understanding that Shiva's position is to glorify Vishnu. And when they become a devotee and become a devotee of Vishnu, one go to the next level of worshipping and realizing the beyond Brahman realization. And as Santi continues that, um, how um, uh, one, if one hears the irresponsible person blaspheme the master, so here talks about, offense, what happens if you blaspheme the Vaishnavas. So our situation where we get into a situation where if somebody is blaspheming the devotees or Vaishnavas, what can be done? Here, first thing is one should block his ears and go away if unable to punish him. And second one, but if one is able to kill, then one should by force cut out the blasphemer's tongue and kill the offender. After that, one should give up his own life. So here it's been told that, when we see some blasphemy going on, or we should block our ears or go away from that place. And it says that we should able to punish them, but again it's for depend on the situation. But here this extreme thing is, one if one is able to kill, one should force. But I think this is the, offending the highest Vaishnavas. And here it's mentioned in the purport that Kshatriyas are allowed to or kill the offenders, because and they don't get any sin because of that. Rather, they would be destroying one's unlimited pain in the hell. And if he's a Vaishya or Shudra, they are Vaishyas or Shudra, they are not qualified and should commit the suicide. Brahmana says if you are a Brahmana, they should cover their ears and remember Vishnu and go away. But I think in this Kali Yuga, we just stay away from those people, or we just tell them not to, blaspheme the devotees. And as it's been as Sati is continuing, uh, continuing condemning the Daksha. If someone has taken a food which is poisonous, the best treatment is to vomit. So now Sati also talking about her body next. As she got a body from Daksha, she wants to give up her body, because she feels like she no longer need to identify the body given by his father, who offended her her husband as well as the highest Vaishnava. So in the verse 10, 20 talks about, there are two kinds of activities for those who are attached to material attachment or enjoyment, and another one is who are detached. So, she's comparing with them, two paths. And she's also telling that, whatever opulences, he has, Daksha has acquired, is impossible to realize that how it has come. He's just ignoring that, or he's become puffed up of because of his fame and all the opulences he has received. And verse 22 saying that, Daksha, Sati is continuing that, telling Daksha that you are offended at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva, and she is very much ashamed of her bodily relationship, and she wants to condemn herself because my body is contaminated. So, and now she feels very much sorry with the body, which was just like a bag and has been produced by you. That's what Sati is feeling, when condemning the Daksha. So now in the next few verses, talks about how now Sati has decided to give up her body. And to do that, Sati sat down on the ground facing north, and she is fully absorbed in herself in the process of mystic yoga. And she's sitting in a posture, and she was meditating, and she's controlling her breath and everything, and she's focusing her mind between her eyebrows. And when she began to meditate on the fiery air within the body, she became completely clean off all the taints of the sin and quit her body in a blazing fire by meditating in the fiery elements. So I think this is how she, even though she committed suicide, or she gave up her body, but she gave up on the body in meditating, uh, and also with the blazing fire, by the meditation, she gave up her body. So when all these things happened, there was a great cry arising from the sky, and he said that there was a tremendous roar all over the universe. It was astonishing that Daksha, who was Prajapati, is so disrespectful to his own daughter Sati. And by seeing that, um, um, see, even Daksha is very hardened that he is unworthy to be a Brahman. And by seeing that, all the uh, followers of Shiva who came with Sati, were very angry, and they were ready themselves to kill the Daksha with their weapons. And from the other party, Brugmuni saw the danger coming, and is offering the oblation into the sacrificial fire, and by with his Vedic hymns, and he has uh, uh, from his Vedic hymn, the Ribus came from the sacrifice to protect the Daksha. So immediately, thousands of demigods named Rubus manifested, and all of them are powerful and achieved the strength from Somarasa and from the moon. And when Rubu and demigods attacked the ghost Guhyakas, and they were, half burned and in the process. So this has happened because of the Brahma Tejas, Brahmanical power. So in summary, in this in this chapter, we titled the Sati quits her body. Sati leaves to Lord Shiva. Sati leaves Lord Shiva and goes to Daksha, and she was angry. She's anxious. When she reaches the Daksha's place, she was not received by anybody. Only mother and sister came to receive her, but she was not happy. She was waiting for her own father to receive and invite her, but which was not happen. Then Sati condemns the Daksha, glorifies Shiva, tells how what is the position of Shiva versus what is the position of Daksha, and how he is behaving. And she gets very angry. She was not happy with the body she received by her father. And when somebody blasphemes the highest Vaishnava, they should stay away from that place, go away from that place, or give up her body. Here in Sati decided to give up her body because the body came from Daksha, and he didn't respect his own father, who is the highest personality in this material world. And she meditated, and she sacrificed her body. And by seeing that, big cry arose from the sky, and followers of Shiva who came to with along with Sati were not happy, and they were ready to try to kill the Daksha, you know, and and his followers. Then Bhrigu with his yajna and powers, created a rebus who protected Daksha, and um, killed the followers of the Shiva. And in the next chapter will be, we know more about how Shiva, angry Shiva sent Virabhadra and destroyed the Daksha sacrifice and beheads him. Please forgive me for any shortcomings. Vancha kalpatarubhascha, krupa sindhubhya evacha, patitanam